This week on TechRap, we bring you all the highlights from Mobile World Congress 2013 and give you a hands-on review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. Hi, I'm Michael Josh, and this is TechRap. The tech world's biggest mobile event, Mobile World Congress, took place in Barcelona, Spain this week. Here's a roundup of the event's biggest announcements. Let's start with Nokia. I personally was waiting for the Finnish cell phone giant to announce a successor to the PureView 808 camera, the 41-megapixel wonder announced at MWC last year. There were reports that Nokia was working on one that runs Windows Phone 8, codenamed Project Catwalk, but there was no word on that at MWC 2013. That will have to remain on my wish list for now. At this year's MWC, Nokia announces 4 new phones. 2 budget phones, the $20 Nokia 105 and the $85 Nokia 301. Nokia also adds 2 phones to its lineup of Windows 8-powered Lumia phones. At under $200, the Lumia 520 is at the bottom end of the series. The 4-inch budget smartphone is powered by a Qualcomm dual-core processor and comes with 8 GB of internal storage, expandable to 64 GB with an optional micro SD card and a 5-megapixel camera. Nokia did not include the NFC chip seen in other Lumia devices, as well as its front-facing camera. If you want those, then you're better off spending a bit more for the Lumia 620, which Nokia announced last December. The Lumia 720, on the other hand, fits right in the middle of the Lumia family. One thing that makes this smartphone stand out from the other Lumia phones is its thinner and lighter frame. But what it skims on is its display resolution. Unlike the 720p display seen on higher-end models, the 720 comes with a 4.3-inch WVGA display. Also new to this phone is a micro SD card slot that's accessible like you would a SIM tray. Like the 520 and the 620, the 720 does not come with LTE support. Getting a bit confused? Take a look at this guide to Nokia's complete lineup of Lumia phones on Rappler.com. Samsung had plenty to announce at MWC, but their only major hardware announcement was the Galaxy Note 8, an 8-inch tablet that will go head-to-head with Apple's iPad mini. The device won't ship till the second quarter of the year, but just in case you're interested, TechRap got hands-on time with the device. We'll take a look later on in the show. The rest of Samsung's announcements came in the software front. Samsung Knox, probably taking a cue from the most secure vault in the whole world, Fort Knox, sounds very much like BlackBerry Balance. It allows your employer the ability to install a secure working environment on your phone and gives your phone a personal side and a business side, each side with its own apps, storage, and even credentials. Developers at MWC also got early access to Samsung's upcoming Wallet app. Similar to Apple's Passbook app for iOS, the app allows users to store plane tickets, boarding passes, membership IDs, among other important personal details. Samsung also showed off a developer phone running a new Linux-based mobile operating system, Tizen. The new mobile OS is backed by both Intel and Samsung, with devices running it expected to go on sale in August or September of this year. Mozilla also joins the smartphone OS race with the release of Firefox OS. Mozilla is calling it the world's first truly open mobile operating system. From the looks of it, at least for now, devices running Firefox OS will be on the lower end. 2 phones running the new OS were introduced at MWC, the ZTE Open and the Alcatel One Touch Fire. Smart Telecoms is one of 18 telcos from around the world to carry the first phones running Firefox OS when they become available in summer 2013. HP rejoins the tablet race with the announcement of the Slate 7. Unlike the touchpad, its failed attempt at a tablet in 2011, the Slate 7 will not run on WebOS, the operating system HP acquired when it purchased Palm back in 2010. The Slate 7 runs on the Android OS. Specs are pretty much in the mid-range: a 1.6 GHz processor, a 7-inch 1024 by 600 display, 1 GB of RAM, 8 GB of storage, and 3.1 megapixel camera. Nothing stellar here. Its form factor and the fact that it runs a stock version of Android reminds us of the other 7-inch tablet out there, the Nexus 7, except for a few pluses. The device comes with Beats audio, all for a cheaper $169 price tag. Expect the Slate 7 to hit stores this April. Speaking of WebOS, while we don't see it making a comeback on smartphones anytime soon, or ever, WebOS breathes new life this week after LG acquires from HP the rights to use the OS on its upcoming line of smart TVs. If a few years back, mobile phones got smaller and smaller, these days, smartphones are getting bigger and bigger, so much so that they are crossing into the tablet space. We call these devices phablets. At MWC 2013, ZTE's 5.7-inch smartphone, the Grand Memo, was one of the largest phones announced. The phablet comes with pretty decent specs, a 1.7 GHz quad-core processor, 1 GB of RAM, and a 720p display. It runs on ZTE's own customized version of Android 4.1 Jelly Bean. The phone comes to China this March, no word on pricing and whether or not it will make its way to the Philippines. And if you want both a phone and a tablet, but a phablet is not for you, there was the Asus Padphone Infinity, basically a 5-inch Android smartphone that you can dock inside a portable 10.1-inch 1080p display to turn it into a tablet. A pretty cool concept, but still a tad bit overpriced at $1,300. We're here at the 2013 Samsung Forum in Jakarta, Indonesia. Samsung actually shipped in a bunch of journalists from all over Asia and Oceania just so that they could show off the latest gadgets and technology for 2013. Let's take a look. Catching our attention is currently the world's largest ultra-high-def television, this 85-inch, 1.6 million peso TV. A 55-inch multi-view 3D TV that can project up to 4 programs simultaneously, not in separate windows, but on the whole screen. And did I say, at the same time. And this 45mm 3D prime lens made specifically for the mirrorless NX300 camera. Now anyone can make a 3D home movie. Samsung Asia CEO Gregory Lee talked about his company's strategy for gadgets in 2013.
Our big ideas, you see, are moving our beautiful design products, large formats, and combining it with sort of smart, intelligent software and applications and content.
We saw this even in its line of home appliances. But the star of the show was the newly announced Galaxy Note 8 tablet. We were happy to see the device make an appearance 2 days after its worldwide unveiling in Barcelona. Specs-wise, the device comes with a 1.6 GHz quad-core processor, 2 GB of RAM, 16 or 32 GB of storage, a 5-megapixel camera on its rear, and a 1.3-megapixel front-facing camera. The device looks to be the direct competitor of the iPad mini, but if compared side by side, you'll notice that the Note 8 outscores the iPad mini on almost all fronts with a better processor, more RAM, and a better display. Overall, the Note 8 looks like an enlarged version of the 5.5-inch phablet, the Note 2. Specs-wise, it's practically the same, except that the Note 2 comes with a better camera. But there is at least one thing that the Note 2 can't do. You can now use the S Pen to click on the back and menu buttons. Speaking of the S Pen, it feels like something's been improved, as it does feel a bit smoother to use. At 8 inches, we also think it's the sweet spot both for taking notes and surfing the web. The device comes in 2 flavors, a Wi-Fi only model and a 3G and/or LTE model. You can actually make phone calls on this device. I don't know if anybody wants to be seen crossing the street taking a phone call on an 8-inch tablet, but just in case you want to do that, then you can definitely do that on this device. Samsung has remained mum on pricing for now, but we expect it to undercut Apple by offering it below Apple's $329 price point for the iPad mini. If you are in the market for a tablet, it's definitely worth waiting a bit longer. The Note 8 is expected to hit stores in the second quarter of 2013. That could be as early as this April. And that was TechRap. For events to look out for in March, this week Samsung sent out invites to the launch of their next flagship smartphone, happening on March 14. All hints lead it to being named the Galaxy S4. Look closely at the invite and you'll see episode 1, which is interesting to us. We wonder what that could mean and what Samsung has up its sleeves. For the latest news updates, don't forget, follow Rappler.com on Twitter, like our page on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. And if you have any tech questions or requests about what you like featured or reviewed on the show, send me an email, techrap@rappler.com, or a message on Twitter using the hashtag TechRap. And if you enjoy watching TechRap and are watching it on YouTube, please like the video below and send us your comments. We enjoy reading them also. Also, don't forget to look out for new episodes. We post them every Sunday on Rappler.com. That's all for this week, folks. I'm Michael Josh. Thanks for dropping by.